404, page not found. You can see me in the background. Alright, so these aren't Redcats, but this is where Redcat got its idea from. I've never done, I think, this specific kind of a unveiling or unboxing or whatever the heck you want to call it. And that Houston, we have a problem is kind of in the center right here. So these two platforms right here, while they have nothing to do with Redcat, they do. Because the base platform of both of these vehicles, it's not a carbon copy, but it's a copy enough to where did Redcat or was Redcat keen enough to figure out what was wrong potentially with these two vehicles. We'll cover these two vehicles at another time together. So in order to figure out, I guess, which one I'm going to open, we got the Valkyrie TR on this side, Valkyrie MT on this side, which Vector is kind of checking out. We got one of these funky looking dollar bill looking coins. We got a woman's head on this side, and obviously we've got the eagle on this side. So we're going to flip this. We'll go heads for this thing, tails for that thing. What do you think we got? Well, we got heads. So it looks like we're opening up the Valkyrie TR. Alright, 110 scale, 4-wheel drive, brushless, 2.4, 4S power, redcatracing.com. 1950 kV, 3670 size motor with a heatsink and a fan. 5mm shaft. So I guess that means at least they're going the right way with this. 4S brushless ESC, so it's 120 amp, all-weather, waterproof, dustproof, 4S maximum, XT90 connector, 6 volt to 7.4 adjustable 4 amp BEC. So you can clearly see, what does it say right there? It says Hobby Wing. Hexfly torque spec servo, so it's an all Metal Gear digital servo with the operation range between 5 and 8.4 volts. So it seems as though it's a better quality, I guess, maybe RTR servo, and it is Hexfly, which is Redcat branded. Durable design features, solid mount wheelie bar, so solid I ripped them off of both the Blitzkrieg and the Tyrants because they were kind of getting in the way. Same exact wheelie bar, high downforce wing, which is this right here. I'm very interested in seeing if stuff like this can be adapted to the Tyrants. We get a hybrid tread design for the tires and a tethered body clip situation going on, keeping that body secure to the vehicle. Front side and rear side, battery charger not included, and a bunch of just warning stuff in languages that I can't understand. More pictures of the RC. You get the 2.4 gigahertz 4-channel radio system, which is Redcat's newest offering. A decal sheet to go with it. Some websites if you want to go ahead and visit. Required 4 AA batteries for the transmitter, typical. 4S LiPo battery, max. They're really kind of pushing this as a max battery. I think it could take 5S, but don't do it. Always listen to what the manufacturer said. And the back of the box, absolutely nothing. Inside the box, it definitely has that nice smell. Tires are a lot smaller. Wow, tires are way smaller than I thought they would be. And nothing else. So this is the radio that you're getting now with these Redcats. 4 AA batteries in the bottom, as well as a little storage area for, they were saying like tools, so I guess the small wrench can kind of fit in there. 3rd channel button right here, which is just a momentary LED thing right here, which I've already shown before. It's to power this LED light, which is, it's odd. Foam steering wheel. You can one-hand control this RC. It's a little awkward. If you've got a smaller hand, it might be a little odd. And you can also see how the steering is a little bit more ergonomic, which is kind of nice. It's just different. It's different. Small steering wheel. Steering reverse, it is set in the reverse function. You got reverse and normal, you got a bind button. Throttle reverse, it's set in the normal position. A red LED light, a green LED light. Steering trim, negative positive. Throttle trim, same thing, negative positive. Steering EPA, end point adjustment, negative positive. That is a positive thing to have in a regular just on off switch. Cool looking logo. Like I said, the light is a little weird. Controller can sit that way, can sit that way. Also inside the box, nothing for a manual. What I appreciated right off was WAV Racing at least gave you a manual. It covered both the Tyrant and the Blitzkrieg, gave you the total way of being able to take apart this vehicle and each and every part that's available and not available. We'll get to this later. The other positive thing right here, it gave you parts and part numbers in the back of the manual. 2 pages or 3 pages, 4 pages worth. The only thing that this manual was lacking, the correct way to contact this company, as this RC had QR codes all over the place. When you scan the QR code on the truck or on the box and the accessories that came with it, it led to a dead website. When you scan this QR code, I don't think it's going to lead to a dead website. It says link to full manual. So, yeah. I get what they're doing, but I also still just sometimes appreciate the quick run through. Bam. Okay. WAV 024, when you're looking up the parts, it just seems to kind of make it easier when you can just quickly scan a manual, look and see what's involved, know that, okay, I need WOV 021, jump over here, WOV 021, that is the slider shaft female assembly. This is the slider shaft male assembly. And it shows you what comes with all the parts. This ain't showing you nothing. The problem with this, if you don't have the manual downloaded on your phone, well, let's just say you're in a location where you have no internet, which will kind of be ridiculous right now, going through the manual, which, you know what, how about if we just go and do that right now? Go ahead and go to redcatracing.com. Guess what? What is that saying right now? Today, Alexa, what's today's date?
It's Wednesday, August 7th.
August 7th, and we're still getting 404 page not found. Well, you know what? Here's page found. Over here, what are you guys doing, Redcat? How about let's just back out and just make sure. Scan that one, Redcat Racing. Same thing. Dude, they have had plenty of time to go ahead and get this squared away. That's ridiculous. 404 page not found. So anyways, yeah, guy. They gave you some stickers, and they do give you an ESC because this is a Hobbywing branded ESC. What's nice is that if you have a program card, you'll be able to hook up your program card and be able to program your ESC without going through all of this garbage prompt stuff. So, I like easy. This is easy. This is not, especially when the redirect is a 404 page not found. Still, what the hell, dude? Like, seriously. Oh my god. Link to the electric manual. Yeah, guy, it doesn't work. No bleeding shocks. Oh, it's solid. So, you see the rear is squatting, the front is not, showing that it has a massive weight bias in the rear. Looking at the front on, I'd have to say that this kind of looks typical Redcat. Typical, kind of weird looking Redcat type of deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, this body actually fits on there. Dude, this was like a joke. I was just joking about that body, but that body actually fits on there. But Redcat always made some weird kind of like decisions with the way their bodies look, but it's a body, especially when you look at the Blitzkrieg, which was very basic, bland, kind of odd looking body, but it's theirs. They couldn't copy. They didn't like how the WAV Racing tucked the bumper behind the body. I got it. I understood why they did it, because they kind of wanted this look, and it gives it its own kind of unique look. This definitely has its own unique look, and so does this. A lot of people were complaining, man, this looks really goofy looking. And I'll totally agree, because the way they did these fender flares here made it so that the tires contact the body. This was a very, very bad situation. Also, the front suspension is more buggy oriented, and when they just threw on monster tires, it technically limited, because it was still the same shocks, it technically limited the travel of the RC's suspension, which was a major downfall, I feel, for this truck. This truck was not able to fully realize its potential. Now, when you look at the tire situation, look at how massive these tires are. I am hoping that these tires right here are going to benefit and or fit better on this vehicle. Maybe even give it a slightly wider stance. We're going to find that out. out. If these tires are the way to go, which I'm sure Redcat kind of did their homework concerning that, these tires may be a straight win for this RC, giving the suspension better travel, more cushion. I do like the way they put these fender guards here. So the hood, technically, the hood and the fenders have kind of a guard. The only thing I wish is that it wasn't so angular. Kind of looks a little odd. It almost looks like it's going to catch in the event of a rollover. It does have roof skids on it because they are intending for you to scrape or land on your lid, do the turtle. I am liking the way I'm seeing the suspension here. Comparing this, we'll get this out of here because this one doesn't even make any sense. We're not even coming to the inside of the track width between these vehicles. Basically, they're centerline nose to nose. And this is how much track width that you've lost with this vehicle versus this one. This one really pushes those wheels out a little bit further, but I'm also thinking, I want to see the underneath. So looking at the vehicles underneath, the arms are a lot longer on the WAV Racing buggy. Chassis looks almost the same, but it's not. The WAV Racing has ribs, which are non-existent in this vehicle. Does appear maybe the front and rear bumpers may swap between the two vehicles. They just might. And if they do, that could be a good thing. Suspension-wise, I'm going to say they probably do fit. You can see the material. Yeah, see the material in the chassis. It is different. This from memory. Can't remember if it had that bulge or not, but suspension is definitely different. You have C-hubs and knuckles. Here you have a top and bottom pivot ball style suspension. The question is what's going to be better? Shocks are exactly identical. What I'm hoping is that the pistons in this shock for the Redcat are a better quality. So Buddy RC, or at least should I say the owner of Buddy RC, this is what I was told by my contact with Buddy RC, was that the owner went to China to see about revisions of the WAV Racing RC because they were really getting invested in this truck. Seeing that for some strange reason, whatever German design or whatever deal, whoever gave up on this platform, which Redcat kind of in a sense picked up, again, not the same exact. We are definitely looking at different RCs here. Wheelbase on the buggy is actually longer. It's only by a couple millimeters. But when you line up the tire on the back here, you can see we're more close to the edge there with more reveal. Where here, we're pretty much lined up. So we've got center line here. So this chassis is just slightly longer on this truck. Could that be a better deal? Is it possible to adapt enough, maybe turn this into kind of one of these using the suspension? The rear suspension I think is fine on this, except for the travel with the shocks. This you can see definitely has way more travel. Granted, we are talking the buggy, technically the truggy, which is the truck version, same exact thing. Between these two, this and this Blitzkrieg right here, they were essentially the same exact truck except for the fact that they just swapped out tires and the pinion and body and how it mounts. So this kind of brings to mind, yeah, see, even the screws are set up slightly different. We've got an inset screws right here. These are really sunk down like this chassis, maybe a thicker chassis or something. See how you can see these screws flush, flush, not flush? So there's all these little tiny differences. Flush here, kind of, sort of. We've got a little bit of an edge here, where here we had that and we had the ribs here. So little changes. Again, like I was saying, look how deep down those screws are compared to here. This is very interesting. Looking at these screws are all flush. That one's sunk down in and those are sunk down in. Looking at these screws here, these are flush except they're really not. So they did have a buildup of material around these screws to protect them, where this kind of doesn't. And then look at this one. This one's flush, where this one's countersunk in. So is this chassis technically thicker than this chassis? Wow, what a twist, dude. This is such a twist. Dang, man. You know, I wonder. So these arms These arms look to be the exact same length as these, but these look a little bit more beefy, I think. It's got Redcat right on the front bumper right there. I do like this wing setup. This wing does look like it's going to adapt, I really hope. I do like the fact that it's all blacked out, but I also really did like the green effects that they did with this RC. Wheel nuts will look in black with a silver hex. This is going to be a splined hex, the same exact thing as this thing. Body clip kind of tether situation here. It's a plastic, hard plastic tether. I don't know how long that's going to last. And then WAV did a little push button deal. Same thing, plastic kind of tether deal, but they had a push button which releases that tether and the body. This was also part of that downfall just because I treated it like a beast. I treated it rough, man. So that's the other thing too, dude. Is the wing 100% adaptable? Because if it is, this setup might be way better on this truck. We're going to have to swap some parts around and see what works. Well, the tethers are kind of holding on. At least they have a backing support. I'm not too sure about those little tether pieces. They are really, really thin. That's a typical kind of thickness for a Redcat body, or at least something that's... See, this plastic is actually a little different. Yeah, hear the difference? Listen to this. I'm gonna pop this body off. So we got this body. We got this body. It just kind of feels... This feels flimsy. And you know what that might be? That might be because they have all these indents and impressions, where this is just a flat rail. So maybe it's more similar to that. Yeah, it's a weird kind of looking truggy body. It's fine. Looking at the inside of the vehicle, yeah, that's wicked cool. So the ESC is not even bolted down. It's with stick tape. Here's what was cool about this. Granted, this is not an ESC that you can program, but I believe it is 120 amp ESC, if I remember correctly. I don't think it's 100. I'm pretty sure it's 120. But this thing at least bolted down. This ESC from the factory is already coming off. They're just relying on stick tape to hold this thing on. That's kind of cruddy to see right there. Looking between the two, definitely a different upper portion here. Again, that question is what is adaptable? I know the steering is the exact same between the two. I'm not talking the servo, just talking the way the steering is. We do have adjustable links here. We do not have adjustable links on the WAV. This was a bash buggy or whatever you want to call it. This one, there's a little bit of an adjustment. So you can adjust your toe in and out if that's something you feel you need to do. The components do look really beefy. Hardware wise, it seems like they transferred good hardware like they had on this RC into this RC. It's really bigger than 10th scale hardware is what I see on this truck. And that was one of the first things I noticed with this truck, was the fact that this thing had huge hardware. But see what I'm saying? WAV, dude, WAV is everywhere on this thing. WAV, 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 WAV. So I'm saying, dude. WAV. Redcat doesn't have that on their shock towers. But can the bumper adapt? Yup. It sure does look like you can axe this and go ahead and throw on one of these. I'm going to start swapping parts between these two and see what we come up with. But the same kind of chassis center brace type of deal with this truck. Center brace actually looks a little bit more captured with this. It's a beefier mount, but that is also incorporating the mount for the body. So the oddity about this is the way this is just clamped in. With this, it's also clamped in, but what I was able to do, because this was, even though that broke, because this was kind of a stout piece, I was able to put double-sided tape on there, which limited the slip of this center brace. This center brace, while it may help with compression, meaning this way, it's not going to help this way. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I want to say 9 times out of 10, it's going to banana this way and not necessarily this way. This way is only if you're going to land or strike the chassis. Drive shaft is a splined drive shaft itself, meaning the entire drive shaft is splined. The only thing that it had with these funky, I can't remember what size set screw that is, but this does have a spring in it and it does collapse. So it's easy to get that drive shaft out. This, I'm not sure. We're going to have to figure out and see if this is the better drive shaft to have. With this is almost like a setup from, not exactly, but it's similar, just because the drive shaft will collapse and you can pull the drive shaft out without taking too much stuff apart, which it looks like with this, there is no collapsing. It seems like it's pretty rigid. So we do have a fan, which is the same exact, if not very similar fan. EC5 connector on here, which I definitely appreciated. I cannot stand these XTs, and this is going to be the first thing to go. Desolder it and then solder on a new connector. Wire length for the ESC. Looks like we've got a really good wire length on this. Not so much on this Hobbywing ESC. It seems pretty short, but given how the battery packs go in, I mean, the wire length should be fine connecting up a battery pack. Unless you had some weird shorty kind of pack. That'd be kind of odd. But I'm thinking that they're asking the wire to kind of go this way and not necessarily this way. The reason why I'm saying that is because of the way this wire clip is. The wire from the battery pack is going to want to go through this, and this has got that adjustable battery pack thing. That seems kind of neat looking. If the wires are supposed to come from the battery pack underneath this, and then you connect this up. I do still have packs. I mean, this is super old, won't charge, but I think this one actually charges. I think what they were saying was throwing this in there. Look at that. No, look at that. That's mint, dude. Even though that wire thing won't connect, this 4S pack right here, this Power Hobby, looks like it's a good size, except for the fact that these Redcat straps might be a little short for that. Yeah. Yeah, well, I just found another reason why I don't like my Pixel Pro. And also why I can't stand these goddamn GoPros. Dude, the 7 blacks were always the best ones. This one chews through batteries. This is the factory battery that came with. Whatever, dude. It is what it is. So right now I'm using my Google Pixel piece of garbage. So what I was trying to show was how well the battery pack fits in here. You could see how much strap length you have with this WAV Racing strap. Redcat has been known to be a little bit odd with their straps, but there's also usually a reason why. What's wrong with you? Huh? We'll slide this bad boy in here, and battery pack fits pretty good, but look at the strap. Oh man, see, this is garbage, dude. That is garbage, man. Look at that. We're talking like, dude, we're talking like maybe 3/8 of an inch, maybe a half an inch of strap. Where at least the WAV Racing gave you nice straps, dude. Nice, healthy straps. Redcat, I know what they're doing here. So basically what Redcat is doing is saying, well, this may be a 4S vehicle. Don't put your 4S hard packs in here, especially something that's got some health to it, something that's going to give you runtime. I think what they're trying to do is tell you that even though this is a 3S pack, what they're basically trying to do is they're trying to limit the size pack that goes in here. And it is a very valid fight. It is smart. They want you, granted, this is an 8,000 pack, but this is a 3S pack. What they're really trying to tell you is don't beat this truck up. Don't beat this truck up because there may be a potential issue. This vehicle, all on its own, is a massive weight tank. This vehicle, basically the same thing. It's a weight tank. It's a very heavy, rigid RC. Good thing and bad thing. Bad thing is if Redcat didn't resolve the issues that WAV Racing had, Team Not One Pack, get yourself some of these. So these are more designed for the larger scale RCs, kind of like the Gumball Rally. Really good size sticker, but don't turn yourself into one of these guys right here. There's a reason why I came up with this. RC Guy Garage Team Pound Not One Pack Dude, because there are times when an RC doesn't make it through one pack. And if you're the one that's causing that problem by putting in a massive battery, weight-wise, the bigger batteries, the 4S's, the big 72, 8,000, 9,000 milliamp packs are going to weigh this vehicle down. And when I think what these manufacturers are telling you, which WAV Racing kind of was like, nah, you do whatever you got to do. Just go ahead and suffer the consequence. Suffer the consequence. The piston blew out in this. What I'm hoping is that Redcat was able to square away some of those issues. The rear end kind of does something. Front end doesn't because there's no weight here. All this weight. Look at all this chunk, dude. Look at all this chunk that's on the back side of this vehicle. There's a lot of weight back here. Engine, transmission, rear differential, like all of this. Wheelie bar hanging off of the end. There's nothing up front. Did Redcat really do their homework? Looking at the shock preload, look at the springs here. Preload. Collars shot all the way up to the top. Preload. Collars sent down to almost halfway. That's not really almost halfway. That is halfway. So they already have preload on the back of this RC to compensate for exactly this. I'm really not being negative about this. This is just reality. This vehicle only comes in at $300. This vehicle comes in at $330, but you get a lot of stuff with this. You get a shopping bag, a tether for the remote. What else do you get? Oh, you get a free 4S battery. You'd have to contact Buddy RC and see if that's really still the case. But the question is, dude, is there a possibility to have best of both worlds? Redcat, bigger box store type of situation where you're going to have more of the part support. You got Buddy RC. Buddy RC is an online only presence. They are a hobby shop that sells stuff online. Now I will say Buddy RC has been very responsive to just about every question they've had pretty much an answer to. And it's not because of who I am. I'm just a regular customer when I talk to them, when I call them, or when I email them. It's not like I'm getting special treatment, but they answer right away. I sent a message to Buddy RC. It all depends upon when you send the email. I sent my email, I think at 10 o'clock in the morning, my time. I can't remember where they are. Are they Ohio? But Redcat's Arizona, and they're a big company. They sell tons of RC cars, parts, warehouse. They've got a massive online presence. So again, I'm not down in this RC, and I'm not downing this one because I feel Redcat made a good move, but was the move good enough? Did Redcat do their homework? I gotta get that dog again. So honestly, all day long, I'm still gonna revert to this being the RC that came out first because I got them both. This is going to be the RC that came out second. Redcat potentially saw some of the limitations of this vehicle when they just tire swapped an RC and put a body on it and did nothing else to change it. That wasn't Buddy, that was WAV. All these QR codes that don't go anywhere. Here, scan that QR code, see if it goes anywhere. Then scan this QR code, see if this one goes anywhere. As of today, right now, both QR codes are dead, dude. So is this the same company or what? Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong. I've taken my sweet time with this thing. I've had this RC for a while now. The other one's sitting right there. I've had these RCs for a while. My attitude was kind of already been there, done that. I made a few comments on other people's videos basically saying, oh, it's just a copy of a WAV or whatever. Because in reality, kind of is. Did Redcat put their own spin on it? Yes, they did. They actually did. They put their own spin on it. But was that spin going to be a good enough spin? The base platform of this truck, both in this truggy and in the MT version, for the money, dude, what you're getting, it's a knockout of the park. It ain't anywhere near close to being one of those. But this thing was a nasty truck. This was a driver's truck. Redcat did their own like little touches. Do like the tires. These are directional because of the way the lugs, I guess, are designed or something. I don't know. But it does have a rotation. So we are going to crack open the MT, just not yet. I haven't really seen much on this. It seems like everybody gravitated to the MT. The MT was obviously something that, you know, I was going to get anyway because they didn't make a red Vigilante. They made a blue Vigilante. I got that thing, and that thing's a... Dude, that truck is awesome. Don't get me wrong. As soon as Redcat handles or squares away the gear issue, it's a no-brainer buy, even right now. Even right now the way it is. My problem was I swapped out the tires. I put a tire and wheel combination on there that's known to be a very rough tire and wheel situation. Only the best of the best can handle the tire and wheels that I put on there, which were Pro lines. So MX43s or something like that. Just they're beasts. They're just solid. Yeah. But what it did is it proved something. Redcat does have their head on straight. They knew coming from the base platform that this truck is, that they could maybe do some fine tuning. Like I said though, was the fine tuning enough? That remains to be seen, because seeing other videos, there's a lot of things in question with this particular unit right here. And the problem that we have is because this is a shock that's almost more designed for that 6th or 7th scale RC, this is still considered a 1/10 scale, but using the big hardware makes a massive difference. Other shock manufacturers don't fit these correctly. Hopefully Redcat made the right move. This was just a bunch of talk, kind of, I guess, informed, maybe, talking about this RC, which has awesome differentials, awesome center diff. Granted, things are slightly different, but it's still the base platform. This thing's a solid rig. I'm just hoping that they made enough changes. Looking at the color of the plastics underneath, seeing if these arms are actually a shinier plastic than this, these arms may be a better deal. Again, that's not saying that these weren't, but pretty confident that these arms are the same as this chassis, and this is the result. This is very rigid material. This chassis could be the same as this chassis as far as material. Is it possible that this chassis is a thicker chassis, which is why I'm seeing all of these screws here being set in, where on this one, they're not. These 4 screws aren't. These screws are actually set in, but it's because of the chassis material. Again, it's got the ribs here, rub ribs. We got nothing but smooth, little indents right there. Is this the right way to go? I don't know, guy. I'm not sure. Same chassis or not, we won't know until this thing is hammered on by a bunch of people. Did they do right by going with this style of suspension? Probably. For the buggy, this works, man. It wears out a little bit faster than I think I'd like to see. These ball ends, see how loose that is? That's not loose because something's loose. That is just loose because it's worn out. We're not going to have that same problem, I don't think, with this, because this is that kingpin style. It's a totally different type of setup. C-hub with a knuckle. This is a ball end, like an upper and lower ball joint with a knuckle. Again, it is going to be fun seeing what transfers between the two, seeing if I can make another mongrel out of something. I'm really hoping for this thing. I don't know, guy. We're going to be coming out with a bunch of videos soon. I've got some time. More lives. More unboxings. I've got so many unboxings to do right now of RC cars. Stuff has been piling up basically for this point right here. So while I'm not out ripping it, hopefully you are. Or hopefully you get the chance to. If you haven't gone over to the merch shop, go ahead and grab yourself one of these brand new stickers if you think you're tough enough. If you're Team 1 not pack enough. I also wanted to bring out something that's kind of called the Black Edition. So for the longest time, I was against doing black. Black is just different. It's a different type of material. I mean, it's the same material, but it's harder to see and harder to kind of like, I guess, clean up. And I think that's because of the way this is. These are the new GPS units. These things are twice the price of the original, but they are 3 times the strength. If you actually think you needed something that is this big or this beefy compared to the original, you can see is a massive difference. Massive difference. I was able to incorporate things into this design just because of its size that I couldn't with this one just because of its size. With 3D printing, sometimes you can only do just so much. When I was able to bump the scale up in this, which is more designed for heavy bashing, if for some strange reason you felt you were a badass enough individual and needed more badassery with your GPS to protect it, this one is different on so many different plans. It's a taller unit, it's a thicker unit, it's got more gussets in it, and it's black. I'm going to be coming out with these colors too, but coming out with these. This is the Outcast 8S Ken Block inspired type of deal. I wasn't going to make these in black, but I've had way too many people ask me, so now they're being made in black. These right now are called unicorns because I've only made one of each. This is the wing mount for the XRT. Flexible material so that it doesn't snap, it'll give. Sold a ton of these, sold a ton of these. This is the Ken Block Kraton Block X. This is the black version of that. You can see just it's a different sheen. Very hard to, like when you look in here, you can see the strings, right? See this? Yeah, here's how it comes out. See all those strings, dude? I gotta clean all that up before I sell it. Well, that's in here too. And because it's black, it's a lot harder for me to clean. So, yeah. These are going to be available in the merch store. These are always available in the merch store. They come in this green and they also come in the candy orange. If you, for some reason, think that you need that tough of a GPS data analyzer unit encapsulator, it's called the Encapsulator HD. If you feel that that's something that you need, go into the merch store, go buy it, but also pick yourself up a second strap. The only thing that seems to be going out on these things, if anything, and that would be the Velcro straps. I mean, granted, I don't sell the Redcat ones. This was just for measuring. The only thing that seems to go out are these straps, and it's only normally because they have been through such abuse, normally on the outside of the RC car where they shouldn't be, but in some cases, that's the only way you can do things. I guess if you're speed running a Grom, you can only have it on the outside, but whatever. If you feel like Groms are your speed run, like, deal, if you feel like they're your deal, man, get yourself a second strap. Hopefully you're happy. This is video number 1 on the Redcat Racing Valkyrie.